Hello, yo. Welcome back to Sisi with the sauce. I am so excited today. Y'all, the weather is beautiful. It's just a beautiful day. And I didn't face too much traffic at all today. So that's a good sign for me today. That's a really great sign. Today I have somebody in the building that I had the pleasure of meeting at a Carlton event that was hosted. He came in, it was a celebrity event, and we got to network, and now you're here. So I love networking and having my having people that I meet again here. I'm glad we didn't stop the conversation. We kept the dialogue going because you have so much going on for our youth that needs to be heard. So without further ado, could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, hi. My name is Felicia Slayton. I've been an educator for 15 years, and I'm the founder of On Point Educational Designs and Consulting.
Perfect. So what got you into being an educator?
It was my love. It started at church first.
Okay.
I was a Sunday school teacher, and then going into education, I just found the love for helping kids to reach their potential, learning new facts, and it just when I was able to do that, to teach them in a way where they can understand, it was my passion. And reading, the more I taught, the more reading became my passion because it is a much needed um, subject that kids need to learn.
I truly believe that teachers make the world go round because I don't know what I would do without my children's teachers. Like honestly, I feel like you guys don't get enough recognition, and that's just in my opinion because you guys do so much. You basically grow up with these kids.
Yes.
So definitely love having educators here. I actually have worked with a lot of educators like
Okay.
that's on our team. Most of them are like they're in sped, they're teachers, they're in the they teach youth as well. So that's great that you guys do that for our community because I know it's not always easy.
No.
No, it's not always easy. So before we get into what you do outside of teaching, I have a question. Have you ever worked with SPED before?
I do. As being an
Okay.
educator, I do. I have kids that have IEPs, accommodations, modifications in all subjects, and so knowing what they need in order to be successful, I'm much aware of it.
Okay. And so since you work in SPED and you work with those IEP with these individual children, do you see any like defects in the system when it comes to IEPs?
I do. I see it in both kids with special needs and even in the general education classroom because some of their needs are not being met. As you know, teachers, we have a lot of things on our plates, but we do try
Mm-hmm.
to reach those kids. But sometimes, to be honest, sometimes we try to help them as best as we can with meals and modifications, accommodations, but then there's still a struggle outside of the classroom with the kids and even during that time frame that we have because we only have so much time with the kids, but then some of them are pulled out too to get that additional resource and help.
Okay, well, Miss Felicia, could you tell me what is the name of your business that you started outside of being a teacher?
Yes, the name of my business is On Point Educational Designs and Consulting.
Perfect. And so what are the services that you offer?
Well, you know what? We help parents of pre-K through third grade students who struggle in the areas of reading and writing by instructing them on reading standards and strategies that improve their reading and comprehension, all while building their confidence. And so, being a teacher educator for over 15 years, and even some statistics before the pandemic, even now with the pandemic, a lot of kids, especially the ones that I service, they lost that foundation, that reading foundation. So a lot of them struggle in reading. And that's where my heart and my passion is to help bridge the gap to where some of those kids are missing the foundations. Some of them don't even know, if you've been a first grade teacher, some of them are still struggling. They don't even know their letter identification, their letters, or even
Wow.
the short vowel sounds before we can move on to the long vowel. And some of them don't know the strategies that are needed to help them to be successful in reading. And that's where my passion came for wanting to help those kids to be successful in the classroom. Because sometimes it's not always behavior, it's
Mm-hmm.
just that the child doesn't have the skills or the foundation that they need to be in order to be successful in the classroom.
So you saw like a decline
Hmm.
in them during the pandemic.
And yes, it was even before the pandemic.
Okay,
I think the pandemic just exposed it a lot more because it
gotcha.
was hidden. But when we had to go virtual, even myself being an educator, it was a transition to go from actually being at hands-on in front of the kid, being able to pull them with the resources, to going virtual. How do I still reach that kid? With pulling them for guided reading groups, etc. It was a transition for me, but I found a way to make it enjoyable for the kids, because the kids know whether or not if you're an educator that is just there to get a paycheck, or if you're really
Mm.
concerned about their needs and meeting their needs.
Okay, so what made you focus on pre-K through third grade?
Well, that's the foundation. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't build that foundation in the lower grades, they struggle. And
Mm-hmm.
even it says, there's a statistics that says 1 in 3 kindergartners will struggle or don't have the foundation skills, and they will struggle as they go up into the upper grades.
Right.
Yes.
So that does make a lot of sense. Do you work with students? Do you offer your services to the students that's already in your school, or is it something that you offer to everyone?
I can't service the kids in my school,
Okay.
but I can service the kids all over um, the city, the state. I even have some that are out of state that I
Okay.
service, because there's a need. Being a virtual tutor, I'm able to reach those kids. And some parents say, "Oh no, my child will not sit down and
Mm-hmm.
listen to a lesson." But it depends. I mean, you have, as me being, I can only speak for myself. You have to have that love and that passion, and find a way to reach those kids that they do want to come back. Oh, to each lesson. Just the other day, I had a parent that contacted me. Um, to start back tutorial services for her child.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could read the text to you. She's like, my son was so happy that he was able to come back to you, because you break down the concepts that he's able to understand in a way that the teacher can't.
I
So
love
when
it.
you have that passion, kids know it, the parents know it, and that's why I want to be able to help so many, especially in our community and beyond. Because if you don't know how to read, it hinders you from knowing what else is out there in the world. I mean, it hinders you in reading, math, all the core subjects, and
Mm-hmm.
even in life, you
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to read.
Okay, so I do understand that it's a conflict of interest for you to be
Hmm.
able to teach your own students. But if you do you ever work with students like outside of your school that has things like dyslexia,
Hmm.
have those different disabilities? I want to say,
Yes, I
okay,
do. Although I'm not dyslexic, I'm not qualified to teach dyslexia. I help dyslexia kids, but working with dyslexia teachers, the things that I do in helping those kids to learn the phonics sound, how to decode and blend, that's a
mm-hmm,
part of that
mm-hmm,
helps in dyslexia. So I can do that part, and just really working together. It's a community. It's a village. Like I tell the parents, let me talk to the teacher, let me talk to the specialists that help your child in the classroom, so
mm-hmm.
we can come together and help that child to be successful. What can I do to improve that child, or enhance the things that you're teaching them to make it better? Because it's not just me. Yes, I do a reading assessment to see where the kids are, but I need to also be able to help that child in the classroom, not just with me,
Right.
but they need to be able to show that success outside.
Right, that makes sense. So you do offer reading consultations.
Yes, I do.
So how are the parents able to reach out to you for those reading consultations?
They can actually contact me. My phone number is 281-750-2703. Or you can also go to my website at www.onpointedconsulting.com.
Okay. And are you able to collaborate with other school districts as far as like with your program? Like, did you think about, have you thought about having like an expansion, pretty much like other teachers that think just like you and see the defects or default in the system, to bring them on to assist more students? Because you can't save the world or everybody.
No.
Have you ever thought about like expanding?
Yes, I have. One of my goals and visions, of course, with the school,
Mm-hmm,
you do have to have those proposals that you can submit to the school. So I am open to that. But I'm
mm-hmm,
also open to helping the ones, education or other businesses that help kids outside of the school, like the daycares,
mm-hmm.
the church youth groups, little leagues, those people that work with kids after school, even churches, How can we work together to bridge the gap? How can I come in or train your people? I have like parent information nights to help the parents with reading. So I would love to collaborate with other people.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And I'm sure they would love to have you and join in with you because this is like an issue
Hmm.
in everyone's community
Yes.
as far as, and going back, I remember we had a conversation about you saying like when they do SPED and, you know, I guess like label the children or give them the IEPs, that a lot of them have behavioral issues. It's not necessarily education issues. What would you want to see different in the school system as far as separating those children?
You know that they always say that they want the kids to have the least restrictive environment, which means not pulling them out the classroom, but allow them to still be a part of their classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it involves working together with the SPED teachers
Mm-hmm.
because they're the ones that are, they're certified to help those SPED kids. But then it falls on the general education teacher, which is what I am. How can we work together? Don't isolate the child, but
Right.
involve the child. And you'll be surprised sometimes when you put that child with maybe a student that's a little bit higher. It's peer, they call it peer tutoring or peer helping. They succeed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yes, they sometimes they know that their kids know when they're low. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
kids know when they're high. But when you put them together with someone or with a peer that's able to help them,
Mm-hmm.
they grow. So me being an educator, how would I like to help? I would like to be able to work with the SPED teachers. Let's come up with a plan to help these kids to be successful because as you know there's a shortage of educators, but there's also a shortage of special education teachers where a lot of those kids they're qualifying for SPED, but there aren't enough educators to help them.
I
So
love that. I love that. That was a great answer.
thank you.
Absolutely. I believe that you should because I feel like I don't know, my kids they competitive.
Hmm.
And if they see one, they like, oh, I want to. Oh, well, you got a better grade than me. Let me see what your report card look like.
Yes.
So I think that's the same goes for in the classroom because with the teachers giving out awards and treats and stuff, it becomes like a competitive environment. So I totally agree with you
Hmm.
on that one or whatnot. I know you offer the tutoring services after the kids get out of school.
Hmm.
What hours do you work with these parents?
I don't normally work between the hours of 4:30 to 8. I
Okay.
generally do 30 minutes because that's about the a much attention span that you have to reach a kid. You don't want to go over 30 minutes because then their brain sometimes cannot absorb all the information. I try to make sure that it is engaged, the kids are learning, but there's also a fun aspect of it because you got to look at it. They've been in school all day. They've been trying to follow all the rules, learn, but when they come to me, I want them to be able to relax, but still learn at the same time, build that relationship with them. And once you do that, they'll want to continue to come. But they have to know that you care about them. You're not just there to
Mm-hmm.
collect the dollars, but you're there because you want them to succeed.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I agree with you on that as well.
Yes.
So, how do you go into like these training sessions? Like, how do you I know you said you do an assessment. So, do you like have a special plan for each student or do you have multiple kids during these virtuals where
I do have to do an assessment because I have to know where your child is. Let's say, for example, right now, kids in first grade, they should be reading like at a GH level, if I'm
mm-hmm,
not mistaken.
mm-hmm,
Your child may still be on the kindergarten level. I can't teach your child first grade stuff until we built that, once again, built that foundation and lead up to it. It's just like taking those stair steps. You have
right?
to take one step at a time to get to the next floor or get to the destination. So I do the assessment. Once I do the assessment, I sit down with the parents and I tell them, okay, this is what we need to do in order to help your child to be successful. This is my game plan. The lessons are geared and tailored towards them because I can't just do a lesson out of a workbook to help the child because it may be too advanced for the child. But let I tailor it, and that's why I also write curriculum too to help that child to meet their learning goals. My motto is let me help your child get on point in their reading.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what do you do about, let's say, low income families or families that really need the assistance but they can't afford to like get the help? What would you recommend to those parents?
Well, you know what? I would actually recommend it. They can still contact me, but let's also I like to get the churches involved. I like to get the community involved. Maybe having a parent information night. I do on point tips for parents and
Okay.
educators. I do that on Tuesday on Facebook, but I offer practical, impactful, and effective tips for
Mm-hmm.
parents on ways that they can help their child at home with reading. Because, like you say, not every parent can afford a tutor,
Mm-hmm.
but there are parents that want to be able to help their child to be successful. They just don't know how at
Right.
times because there's so many resources, and
Mm-hmm.
reading has changed now. Parents, it's not just about can your child read and retell a story. There's a lot more that they're expecting your child in this day and age to be able to know. So that is why it has to be kind of tailored. I do individual, but I also do groups too, because you kids, like I said earlier, they can benefit from each other. They grow off of each other. So yes,
Okay, so I know one challenge that one of my kids have is the tax
the
test.
star.
The star. I'm sorry, I'm
That's
so
okay.
old.
I
Yeah, the star
know.
test.
Mhm.
Okay, so I know she has like that makes her so nervous. Like she just gets
Nervous.
anxiety
Hmm.
for the star test, and I try to like give her extra time and tell her like you already know this, you got this, or whatnot. Do parents come to you for that star test
They
specifically?
do. They
Mm-hmm.
do. Because sometimes their kids are struggling to understand the reading concepts or the questions, how to be able to answer those questions. But it also boils back down to, I can't stress it enough, building that foundation.
Mm-hmm.
It starts even before they enter the classroom. It starts um, once they're able to reading the book at home. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when they're a baby or even a toddler, just you as the parent modeling for your child how to read to be successful. So, yes, they do come to me. I can help them uh, with questions, how to answer those questions, how to find evidence to prove. Because
Mm-hmm.
now you know the STAR test for the state of Texas is actually going online. It's not
Mm.
paper like it
All
used to be.
computers, yeah.
It's computer. But there's still ways, parents, there's still strategies that your child can use to help in answering those STAR questions.
I seen that, if I'm not mistaken, last year, like they can run sounds. I mean, they can like listen, like let it be read to them, like some in the SPED program as far as when they were getting ready to lead up to the STAR test.
Mm-hmm.
So, do they still are they implementing that, practicing that within the test?
I think they are, but then there are accommodations that they do have to meet for those kids if that was set up in their IEP. But
Right.
yes, but there are
Okay.
certain stipulations and things that they
Got
have,
you.
and the
Okay.
parent would have already known, or the SPED would have already been preparing them for that
Mhm.
in the classroom.
Okay, okay, that's awesome. So, I know you. Could you tell us how we can reach you on all of your Facebook, your TikTok, Instagram?
Hmm.
Is it all under the same business name, On Point?
My TikTok and Instagram are on point EDC
Oh,
2021. That's the same for TikTok and Instagram. So I'll say it again. It's on point EDC 2021. And my Facebook, I have my personal Felicia Slayton, but then there's also my business page, which is on point educational designs and consulting. You can find me there. You can find information about what I do, the videos that I offer. Yes, and that's just pretty much about it, I think. And on my website, once again, is www.onpointedconsulting.com. And then also my email is fslayton@onpoint educational designs. Oh, yes, education onpointedconsulting.com. Yes, but I'll send you the information again.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. No worries. Well, it was such a pleasure having you on the show on today of discussing all of the wonderful things that you are offering out to the youth. Please reach out to her. Please follow her on all social media platforms. If you know any churches that would love to partner, if you know any kids that's just facing challenging with reading, this is the perfect opportunity for her to come in and step in, help you guys children. So please, please, please reach out to her.
Well, thank you so much for having. I look forward to working with you again and helping the community, and also for those parents that will reach out.
Perfect, perfect. And one more time, when are you doing the tips?
You know what? I do the tips Tuesdays
Okay.
at 6 p.m. Every Tuesday.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect for us parents to join in. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If y'all have any questions, please reach out to her. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with Sisi with the Sauce.